Hello everybody, you're looking at my large twin trunk fusion larch. It's been in this pot 5 years and I think it's time I took it out, and I want to investigate to see whether it's fully fused at the base here. Time will tell on that one. I think it should have done, but I haven't investigated yet. You may have saw it recently when I gave it a good chop and in preparation for this, and it's now the buds are just bursting and showing green, so I'm almost a little late for doing it, but I'm going to do it now. I'm unsure whether it's going to go into a bonsai pot. I have a large, fairly deep oval bonsai pot it could go into. Failing that, if I can't get the roots down without doing too much work to them, larch can be a bit iffy about root work, then I'll put it into an air pot or something. But we'll see as we move along. It can be difficult just from a picture or a video to actually tell the size of something, so I always use a little soft drinks can, so it's just a regular size can. Just to give you a sense of scale, as to the size of this tree. The interesting thing now is getting it out of this pot, so let's see if I can get that easily. It's not going to be easy, I know it's not, so I don't know why I said easily. Coming out of the bottom. Well, that was much easier than I thought, which is always nice. We've got a good root mat, so I'm going to start taking it down from the top so I can find the point where the two trees were wired together. Fingers crossed you've actually got a reasonable nabari. So I've reached the point where the wire is actually holding the two trees together, and I'm not even entirely sure that the trees have fused. There's still a little bit of movement. I daren't cut that wire, because I don't think they have actually fused. Let me bring you in a little closer. As with all experiments, we live and learn. The two things that I hope would happen don't appear to have. As I say, I'm not entirely certain they've fused. They might have, but there is a bit of movement there. If I cut that wire, I'm not 100% sure they wouldn't pop apart. And also I had hoped that they would root above the wire. And they have in places, but not all. As you can see, there are no roots above the swelling here. Turn around, just notice I've got a big old hollow there. I don't know what that's all about, but I'll just continue working these roots. No serious tap roots or anything, which is great. I won't bore you. I'll continue working the roots until I've got all the excess soil away. Okay, so I'm now at a part in the proceedings where I found a couple of big chunky roots that I want to remove. They've got very little in the way of feeder roots on the base of them. So I'm going to snip them off. That shouldn't worry the tree too much, losing something like that. Another big piece there. Again, with very little in the way of feeder root on it. All the feeder root seems to be above those, which is good. There's a big old chunk there. I might have to take the saw to that. I think, yeah, my cutters aren't even going to go around it. So a fair sized chunk. Another piece there. I'm going to move the camera away so I don't knock it over while I finish this bit. It's quite chilly when I started this job. The sun's come out. Sawing that is out of breath, and I needed to get my coat off. That was quite a thick chunk to go through. I think that saw is almost reaching the end of its good for root work days. So if we look underneath now, that gives us a reasonable flat surface. There's a couple more big roots I'm going to get rid of. And as I say, I don't think I'm going to need to do too much more in the way of root work, because what I really want is for it to root at this point and hide this horrible lump that's been caused by the wire. So at least that's mainly at the back. Let's see about clearing the deck so we can see about getting it into a pot anyway. Okay, so I'm in two minds really. I have this pot here which I've basically been saving it for this tree. I thought it would look nice in it. Or I could use an air pot, like so. Let's just try the tree in the pot. Now, together, pot and tree is possibly the pot is a little bit too big, but I could consider it a training pot. And after all, the tree has been trimmed back somewhat and will grow out wider yet. So no, I think I'm going to go with that. It's going to be it's a little bit off depth wise. I might have to see if I can get a little bit more off the root ball underneath. Okay, so I've managed to clear away a little bit more off the root ball, so the tree will now sit a little bit lower in the pot so that I can get some coverage above this wire, hopefully. And yeah, that's much better. As I say, the sun's coming out, we're in danger of it drying up, so need to get it potted now. I think the pot may still be a little bit too big for this tree, possibly. On the other hand, the tree's going to put out a lot of growth this year, so it's not going to look too terrible, and I can treat it as a training pot for now. And if it doesn't suit, if the trees don't suit in this pot after a while, then well, then I've got an excuse to look for another big tree, or maybe the swamp cypress might fit in it, or one of the dawn redwoods that I've got growing. Endless possibilities. Okay, so let's get some substrate and get this tree potted. Quick final comb out, just to make sure that I haven't got any roots wrapping around. I don't want any round roots, as it were. Okay, so we'll put in a layer of soil on the bottom, not a very deep one. There's not a huge amount of room depth-wise in this pot, so just enough for the tree to sit on a small layer, and so that it's not actually touching the base of those cut roots onto the floor of the pot, as it were, because that isn't going to do it any good. I think that'll probably be enough. Now then, position-wise, this is my perceived front, so I actually want it over to the right slightly, because of the way this tree leans across, and yeah, I want that slightly back. And actually I'm very happy with that position there, so we'll just fill it in. Going to add some of this controlled release plant food. Before I go any further, I'm not worried about air gaps because it's a fairly dense ball there. I'm quickly going to make a bit of a wound around the base of the tree above the wire, just hoping that that'll encourage a bit more growth. I have got a few roots here. I cut back to the wire, then as the tree grows over the wire, hopefully it will be encouraged to root. I've got a big chunk of wire there. I'm going to see if I can just remove some of that. Not all the way back because I don't want the wires to pop open. That's better. Not quite so intrusive on the eye now. Okay, this bit in particular is bothering me, so I'm going to carve it away and hope, fingers crossed, that the tree will go, I need to put some roots out. That's the hope. Let's see if I can pick up those dead bits. But they're not dead, are they? But they will be. Okay, I mean, rabbits often will have a nibble at the base of a tree and it recovers, so we'll hope that this does the same. Okay, so I'm going to continue filling in. Okay, so I've run out of pre-mixed compost right now, so I'm going to have to make up a little bit more, and also I've not quite got above the cut area, so I'm thinking I'm going to have to create a kind of a collar to go round, just to keep the soil up just a little bit above that for the foreseeable. Okay, so a little bit of clear plastic pop bottle, which just held together with a bit of gaffer tape, and then I'm just going to fill in there we go. I always like to give it a really good drink to get rid of the dust. Even though I gave this tree a structural prune earlier this spring, I'm going to take a little bit more off now because I removed a little bit more root than I perhaps thought I was going to. Not huge amounts, but just, you know, little bits off here and there. We've got a bud that's coming out in a odd place there. We've got a piece I missed that was growing straight down there. I really am in two minds about this branch. I mean, I'd always thought of it as a kind of sacrifice branch, but I'd trimmed it and let it be part of the tree structurally. because I quite like it, but I think it's too low. I think this should be my first branch. But actually I think I'm going to leave this one in place for this year, and then maybe remove it next year. It could become a gin. Let me know what you think in the comments. What would you do with this branch? Would you keep it? Would you gin it? Or would you lose it entirely? A little bit here, a little bit there. That branch was growing upwards too much. I'm going to prune that back a little bit shorter. That's a little bit of trimming. Another dead piece. Okay, got a strange old cluster up in that top piece there. And yeah, I need to do something with that. It's a bit better. A whole bunch of buds, all in the same spot. Just, you know, just going to make a big old lump, which isn't good. Let me know down in the comments what you think about this branch. Should it stay? Should it go? Just let me know whether you think the pot's too big or whether I can get away with it. Okay, so very quickly before I give you a 360, I want to do something about this branch at the top here, which has really grown way out of proportion. It's much thicker than these lower branches, for example. So I need to decide whether I'm going to remove it entirely or try and split it and make it appear a little bit smaller. Now that's certainly thinned that branch down some. But I'm still not entirely happy with it. If we come round and look at it from behind, it's a tatty old mess really. I'm not at all sure this would be terribly convincing. It's certainly better than it was. Okay, so I'm gonna leave it like that, and we'll see whether it lives or dies. I'm not convinced it's not going to croak on me. I could always try and graft something into that position further down the line if I need to. It would leave a kind of a bold patch here. Yeah. We will see whether it lives or dies, and how convincing it is in the scheme of things. We zoom in a little bit. It's still very straight, very boring. No, I'm going to lose it. I'm just going to take it away. It's very long, very straight, very boring. A gin in this position when I have no gins elsewhere would be unconvincing. So, go on. Okay, so here we go. Quick 360. Round it goes. Thank you so much for watching. Please, please, please do take care of yourselves. Stay safe, everybody.